Hello, everyone. We are not yet starting. We've got another minute and a half, but I wanted to let everybody know what you will need for our practice this morning. Not necessarily a cat, but I cannot have a cat helper. So, if you've got them, 2 yoga blocks. If you don't, no big deal. Probably a stack of about 3 books, 2 stacks of 3 books, so 6 total. And we will need some kind of blanket or longish pillow. I even found that if you fold your towels a few times, that will work as well. We just need it for padding knees and padding ankles and things like that. Yeah, so good morning. Welcome to my office. Welcome to my heart. I'm so happy each and every one of you are here. This morning is our practice of yin. For those of you who are new to this practice, we call it the practice of surrender. We're not giving up. There is no giving in. We are not waving any white flags. Surrender in yoga roughly translates in my mind to I give myself to, and then you fill in the blank. So if that's a little strange to you today, think, all right, this is uncomfortable. This is pushing the boundaries a little bit. I'm going to give myself to this sensation, and I'm going to come back to that inhale, come back to the exhale, because I know that these roughly 3 forevers will come to a conclusion, and I can go on and feel good. Remember that yin is a reward for hardworking bodies. This isn't a punishment for being tight. So be sure to give yourself that grace to shift as you need, make it less intense, maybe take it a little further, but always within your bounds of what we call the soft side of the edge. So please join me in a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like. Crossed legs, extended, maybe they're tucked underneath. Let your hands kind of flop wherever. Do rock your weight a little further back into your sitting bones. Whole rib cage lifts nice and high. Let your shoulders plunge down your back. We'll keep chin roughly parallel to the floor today. Closing eyes if that's comfortable, or if you'd rather, we're just softly gazing down. Just notice this for a moment. Notice where you may be holding some tension. Notice if your brain is already thinking about 1,000 other things. Remember, it's okay. There's no really special breath for yin today, but I'll encourage it to be comfortably deep. Finding a beautiful long inhale, a deep, complete exhale. Every inhale, we find a little more length in the spine. And on the exhale, let your shoulders drop down. Comfortably deep breaths, find ease. And long, easy exhales create softness. Stay here for just a little while longer, breathing deeply. From here, still sitting nice and tall, drop your chin all the way to your chest. Make sure shoulders haven't followed. Keep them rolling back. Gently beginning to rock head from side to side. Staying on the bottom half of that imaginary circle. Take your time. If there are any little spots along the way that need a little extra time, hang out. This is about you, remember. I'm just offering suggestions. The next time your left ear is over that left shoulder, let's keep it here. Play with where your chin is pointing. Maybe it needs to turn to the ceiling. Maybe we're tucking it towards the right. Finding a little extra stretch along that right side of your neck. Keeping your head where it is. Extend your right arm out to the side. Drop it down, away from your hip. Reach, reach. We want to feel down the shoulder, down bicep. Still breathing that comfortably deep breath. Hand returns to lap, chin returns to chest. Stay here for a moment. Make sure back is long and shoulders are soft. And we'll continue over to the right. Same process, maybe chin lifts or tucks or moves. What works for you? Left arm extends out to the side. Drop it down away from your hip. Reach, reach. Hand comes back to lap, chin rolls back to chest. Still sitting tall, let eyes open here if they're closed. Inhale, bring the gaze forward, shoulders up, and exhale. Down they go. Starting off with our most intense shape this morning, you'll need either your stacks of books or your blocks. Let's grab whatever's padding up the knees, and we're bringing it towards the back of the mat. From here, I'm coming to all fours with my knees in the middle of my blanket. And my hands are slightly behind my stack or blocks. From here, let's bring both of our stacks or blocks over to the right side of the mat. Bringing our hands onto the stack of these blocks. Here's the really fun part. Left leg swinging forward. We want a low lunge here. So knee is either directly above the ankle or slightly behind. Once you have found this good place for hips, make sure top of that back foot is on the mat. Maybe we're staying high on the hands. Maybe we're going to start to bend into elbows. Maybe we're removing a stack, who knows? But this is our dragon shape. We'll be staying here about 3.5 minutes. Just settle. You want to keep that breath comfortably long. It's okay if your chin falls down. Try not to lock out elbows though, nice and soft. Remember, as we're holding, you can shift if you need. You can make your life easier. You can take it a little further. But try to keep that breath long and easy. Last 60 seconds of this sigh. You can do anything for 60 seconds. Wherever your hands have ended up, let's bring them to the top of either blocks or stack of books. We're going to move hands back, move your hips behind you, flex your front foot, tiny bend in the knee, fold forward just a little bit. Keep that breath long. From here, bending your front knee, we're going to swing back to all fours, tabletop. And then take that left leg back and behind, all kinds of weirdo shapes. Just find some easy movement here. Yeah. Coming back to our all fours tabletop, let's slide all of our support over to that upper left. Moving our hands to the top, let's swing that opposite leg forward. Remember, we want the knee either directly on top of the ankle or slightly behind. Starting to settle in and begin to breathe. One side is always a little less marvelous than the other, so give yourself that grace. Give yourself time. Give yourself deep breaths. Try not to hold tension. If you feel your shoulders coming up, if you're squeezing into your glutes or clutching your toes, let it go. Soft. Now is about the time when brains might begin to wander. No big deal. Finish your shopping list. Come back to that breath. Last 60 seconds, my darlings. Shift if you need. Do breathe. Just the inhale. Just the exhale. Good. Start to push your hips back. Walk your hands back. Flexing that front foot, teeny tiny bend in the knee. Let's just fold a little bit. Bending your front knee. Let's move into our tabletop, all fours. From here, scooching that back leg back. Move it around. All kinds of weirdo shapes. Coming back to our neutral table, let's move into a comfortable seat. You won't need your blocks or books for this one. You might want your blanket. We're going to move ourselves into a half hero pose. I'm going to stay facing this way so it's a little easier to see what's happening. So we'll extend our legs out in front of us. And let's start left, right. Let's lean over onto right hip. We're going to tuck left leg back behind. Now, if your foot needs to be out here, no big deal. If you are able to bring the top of your foot down, cool. Not a requirement. Wherever your left leg is, let's stick a blanket underneath that left hip. From here, we're slowly starting to lean back just a little bit. And this one is a little more active. Begin to squeeze your left glute. Staying nice and soft everywhere else. Little bit of stretch along the top of left quad. Let's breathe. Make sure shoulders aren't hunching up to ears. If you need to give your butt a break and not clench left butt cheek, that's totally fine. If all else fails, come back to the breath. Even if you need to abandon the shape, just breathe. Almost there, my darlings. Good. Lean all the way to your right. Remove blanket, left leg comes out in front. Wiggle your hips, even everything out. Let's bounce into the knees. Give ourselves some little wiggles. And just sit here for a moment. Drop your chin to your chest. Close eyes if that's comfortable. Just breathe for a moment. Let's move to the other side. So you'll have your blanket over by your right hip. I'm not going to use it for this side. So I'm leaning over to that left hip. I'm going to tuck this right leg back. Again, if your foot's out to here, super cool. If you're tucking it under, super neat, no big deal. We are going to lean back. We are going to squeeze into right glute. And we are going to breathe. You may be wondering what I mean when I say come back to the breath. Breathing in, knowing I am breathing in. Breathing out, knowing I am breathing out. Just that. Last 20 seconds, just breathe. Even if you need to move out, just breathe. Let's lean over to the left, untucking leg. Make sure if you are supporting a hip, that blanket is off to the side. Bounce your knees, wiggle around just a little bit. Let your legs flop. And let's take a few deep breaths together. Moving into our next shape. I'm going to move my blanket off to the side. I'm going to move my blocks and or books off to the side just for a moment. So this one takes a little bit of setup. We're moving into a sleeping swan, a kind of flat little pigeon. So you'll want your blanket to unfold so it's long enough to come across the top of your mat. We've got a little T shape. And I have a little bit of my blanket hanging over each of the long edges of my mat. So from here, I'm going to kneel all fours. My hands are above my blanket, not quite on top of it. And from here, so again, left, right. I'm going to slide my left knee all the way forward to my left wrist. Scooch, scooch, scooch that foot. We want heel somewhere in front of right leg. And I'm going to start to walk this back leg behind. Soft, floppy foot. And from here, you may need a block to hang out on. We're going to fold forward. We're going to breathe deeply. And try to surrender to that sensation. Surrender to your hips. as we're holding, don't let your shoulders scrunch up. Keep them soft. Make sure we're not clenching toes, clenching jaws. Take your time. No one else can see bellies, so let them expand and contract with ease. And if you find as we hold, you can come down a little more. Neat. Breathing in, knowing I am breathing in. Breathing out, knowing I am breathing out. We are in the last 30 seconds. Breathe deeply, my darlings. Good. From here, begin to walk your hands closer to your leg. I'm leaning over to my left hip. I'm going to stick both legs out to my sides in a wide-ish V. Bouncing knees. I have floppy fish feet. Sit nice and tall. Roll my shoulders. Let your chin drop to your chest. Breathe deep. Let's find that on the second side. Let me meander myself back to all fours, tabletop with my hands over the top of my blanket. My hands are on my mat. I'm going to scooch my right leg. My knee is touching my wrist. I'm winding that right foot towards my left leg. I'm going to start to walk my left leg back. No matter where it is, make sure both feet are nice and soft. Coming as far down as works for you. Please remember, loves, my body is not yours. Your body is not mine. They're all beautiful. And so wherever you are coming down into this shape, it's perfect. It's beautiful. Because it's you. Breathing in, knowing I am breathing in. And breathing out, knowing I am breathing out. Nothing more. Nothing less. gloves don't suffer through the shape. If you need to shift, do it. If you need to abandon it entirely, do it. Just breathe. Last 45 seconds. Very slowly, starting to walk our hands back. I'm going to start to move into my table very first because I want to face you. I'm going to again bring my legs to a wide-ish V. Bouncy, bouncy legs, floppy fish feet. Sitting nice and tall, hands are soft, chin is tucked. Deep breaths. From here, bring your gaze forward. Let's shift into a comfortable seat, whether that's extended legs still or crossed. Sitting nice and tall. Take your palms to your knees. Press down a tiny bit. Inhale, shoulders up and back and down they go. Two more. Inhale, shoulders up and back and Last one. Inhale, shoulders up and back and down they go. Move your hands to the fronts of your legs, shins or fronts of knees. Inhale, pull the chest forward. And exhale, round, shoulders to ears. Two more. Inhale, pull the chest forward. And exhale to round. Inhale, coming forward, shoulders back. And exhale, round, round, round. Sitting up nice and tall. Let's build for the next shape. I'm going to take my blankets and I'm folding it to somewhat of a square. I'm placing it behind me and I'm going to plop my bum toward the edge of my mat. I'm bringing the bottoms of my feet together. My knees are going to flop to the sides. So if your knees are way up here, no big deal. You can take your stack or whatever blocks underneath your knees. You won't lose a bit of benefit. Or you can just encourage them to soften. So I'm going to sit nice and tall. I'm going to take a deep breath. And I'm going to come forward into our butterfly. Take your time. Be soft. you remember you can stay on your hands. You're not losing benefit. Do get rid of the struggle though, huh? Be sure your tailbone isn't turning up. Round your tush back down. You're going to round your spine a little more. Soften in. Let that head drop all the way down. Breathing in, knowing I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. Last 20 seconds. Round your back a lot. Inhale, rolling upright. Exhale. Let your shoulders plunge. Let's give our knees a few little bounces, some little wiggles. We have one more variation of this shape. You're going to lean back a little bit. We're taking our legs to a froggy-ish shape. So my ankles are well inside my knee joints. I highly, highly recommend propping your knees up with something. We're not worried about knees here. We want to feel it somewhat in the adductors, inner thighs. So, same process. Take a nice deep breath. And down we go. Try not to worry too much if you're not coming as far in this shape. It's a little weird. Do breathe. Yin is a balance. We want to find a pleasant intensity. We want to try to let go of this idea that, especially here, my nose needs to be buried into the floor. And then we need to remember that wherever we are is perfect. Wherever your fold is, we are trying to loosen shoulders. We are trying to keep that breath flowing easily. But don't worry. We call it a practice because it takes a minute. Yeah. No big deal. Just breathe. 30 seconds. And remember, if you're abandoning it, good for you. Round your spine a whole lot. Inhale, coming up, right shoulders up and back, and down they go. Blocks or books off to the side. Bend your knees, bring your heels close. Wrap your arms around yourself, round your back. Little rocks. Just take a few happy moments here. Wiggle, wiggle. Next up, we'll move off of our blankets. You might want your little stacks of books or blocks. It'll be up to you. For our blanket, we want it long-ish, about the same length as we had for our sleeping swan. So we're going to start from one end and roll it in on itself all the way up. Little bitty blanket roll. So our blanket roll, as we turn away from where we've been facing, blanket is going to come behind us, same direction as the long edge of our mats. We want spine and bump in the back of the head to rest comfortably along our little blanket roll. So I have a longish torso, so my bum is going to be a little bit away. I'm bending my knees, my feet are down. I'm going to give myself plenty of support as I rock myself back. So my head has missed my blanket. I'm going to meander myself down. And from here, you have several choices. You can extend your legs. You can take your knees together and your feet wide, or you can come back to that diamond shape. Hands are going to rest wherever feels best for you. And we're softening. We're here for 5 beautiful minutes. Make sure your chin isn't higher than your forehead. Untuck the back of your head. Make sure shoulders are nice and soft. Easy, comfortably deep breaths. If you'll do me the honor of hanging there, I'm going to sit myself up. So you stay there, you stay relaxed, comfortable. A very, very long time ago, there were 2 men walking along the bank of a mighty river. These men belonged to an order of monks, the elder and the younger monk. In this particular order, they were not allowed to touch women, strictly prohibited. These men walked along the bank of this mighty river, and suddenly they saw across on the other bank a woman struggling to cross, getting nearly pulled under. Wasting no time, the elder monk threw down his possessions, dived into the river, swam to her, brought her across to safety. Thanks and donations were exchanged, and the pair and the woman parted ways. The men walked along in silence, but the younger man, the acolyte, was stewing and fretting and working himself up, and finally he could take it no longer. And the younger man said, "Master, we are not supposed to touch women. Why did you touch that woman?" And the elder man turned to his younger companion and said, "My son, I put her down long ago. Why do you still carry her?" And that's one of the biggest lessons we can learn in yin. Whatever it is that's creating this tension, this worry, this stress, try to breathe it away. Even if it's just a teeny, teeny, tiny bit, let it float away on every beautiful exhale. Wherever your legs happen to be, bend your knees, guide them together. We're going to roll all the way off of the blanket, curl yourself into a teeny tiny little ball, and take a few deep breaths. From here, reach behind you. We're going to move this blanket all the way out of the way, and we're rolling back onto our backs. Extend your legs all the way down below you. Take your arms up overhead, holding onto your fingers. From here, turn your hands inside out and begin to extend your arms overhead. Reach, reach, reach. Keep this reaching action of the arms and begin to point your toes. Point, point, point the toes. Press the hands away. Begin to squeeze every muscle you can think of, from ankles to earlobes. Squeeze and press away and point your toes. And a long inhale. Begin, inhale. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. One more sip, one more sip. Exhale and relax. And from here, begin to find your shape for our final relaxation. Whatever that looks like. You can roll up to a seat if you like. You can stay on your back. You can roll to your side. You can roll onto tummies. Find a shape that supports. Find a shape that brings comfort. And begin to soften even more. Begin to let go from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet. Release muscles of the face. Eyes are soft and snuggle back in their little beds. Teeth have separated. Perhaps the lips will part. Root of the tongue and throat are soft. Chest, shoulders, arms and hands release and soften. A deep breath enters the belly, and exhaling, the navel falls to the spine. Hips, legs, knees, and feet release into the earth. So comfortable, so at ease, and very, very safe here in Shavasana. Ever so slowly and ever so gently, begin to bring your awareness back to this place. Let your breath deepen. Let it fill your entire being. Small movements creep in, wiggling fingers, wiggling toes, circling wrists, and circling ankles. Reach your hands high overhead and stretch from fingertips to toe tips. Roll over to your right side. Find the shape of safe little ball for just a few more moments. Om Bhurbhuva Svaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuva Svaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Keeping eyes closed as much as you can, gently press yourself up and find a comfortable seat. Hands coming to rest lightly. Sitting tall, shoulders line up over hips. Eyes and face still soft. Receive a deep inhale and let go. Thank you, my loves. Thank you for joining me for this beautiful, refreshing yin practice, a practice of love and a practice of renewal. That chant, the Gayatri mantra, promises us that as we remember that we are beings of light, our minds will be inspired to take the right action at the right time. You are that light of a distant star. It's not to become. You already are. Until we meet again, the light and love in me sees, honors the light and love in you. Have a beautiful day, my darlings. Take good care. Drink your water. And I look forward to seeing you next Sunday for more yin. Take care.